Leslie Dawson, born 2nd of February 1931, was an English comedian, actor, writer, presenter, and pianist. He was known for his deadpan style, grouchy personality, musical performances, and jokes about his mother-in-law and wife. Here are some of his funny quotes.
My wife sent her photograph to the Lonely Hearts Club. They sent it back, said they weren't that lonely. I'm often accused of saying some pretty rotten things about my mother-in-law, but quite honestly, she's only got one major fault. It's called breathing. I've just had some bad news. Tomorrow is the mother-in-law's funeral, and she's canceled it. How can you analyze what is funny? What's funny to one isn't funny to another. What's funny to you is a personal thing. The wife's run off with the bloke next door. I do miss him. I'd like to thank the BBC for allowing me to work here, and I'd like to thank the wife and kids for making it necessary. Slumps don't bother me. I took my mother-in-law to Madame Tussauds' Chamber of Horrors, and one of the attendants said, "Keep her moving, sir. We're stock-taking." I'm not saying my mother didn't like me, but she kept looking for loopholes in my birth certificate. I've got a friend who is a lion tamer. He used to be a school teacher till he lost his nerve. You do something you're really quite proud of, and the public doesn't like it. Then you do something that perhaps you're not at all happy with, and the public loves it, and that's the moment of truth, because it's the audience that's the final judge. I know my name will always be linked with women. I discovered the wife's got asthma, thank God. I thought she was hissing at me. My mother-in-law has so many wrinkles. When she smiles, she looks like a Venetian blind. I don't mind what the critics say, so long as I get some reaction. The worst thing is to be ignored. I'm the most unromantic lump of northern sweet. Yes, a woman did accost me once in South Shields, but she had a face like red rum. With wives, men hide behind the air of bravado, which is basically a defense mechanism, I think. Clever creatures. Women, very clever. The mother-in-law had an accident at work. A hot rivet dropped down her drawers, and she fell off the oil rig. When we were courting, I told my wife, "I could live in your eyes." She said, "You'd be at home. There's a sty in one of them." The mother-in-law is the center of a family. The way prices are rising, the good old days are last week. I used to sell furniture for a living. The trouble was, it was my own. I can always tell when the mother-in-law is coming to stay. The mice throw themselves on the traps. Marriage is an institution, and that's where a couple finish up. My mother-in-law is so fat that when she passes her handbag from hand to hand, she throws it. I saw 6 men kicking and punching the mother-in-law. My neighbor said, "Are you going to help?" I said no, 6 should be enough. When I was a child, I had wax in my ears. Dad didn't take me to the doctor, he used me as a nightlight. Mind you, I've always been musical. Mother used to sit me on her knee, and I'd whisper, "Mommy, Mommy, sing me a lullaby do." And she'd say, "Certainly, my angel, my wee bundle of happiness, hold my beer while I fetch me banjo." Despite the fact that feminists say they're not getting a fair deal, women are still very powerful. I went to the doctor last week. I said, "Can I have some sleeping pills for the wife?" He said, "Why?" I said, "She's woke up." I need to give affection and love because without that, I wither. I need to give that love to someone. Without that, I'm rudderless. My mother-in-law said, "One day I will dance on your grave." I said, "I hope you do. I will be buried at sea." Take my wife, please. I'm not saying she's ugly, but when she went to see a horror film, the audience thought she was making a personal appearance. My wife is a sex object. Every time I ask for sex, she objects. My mother-in-law fell down a wishing well. I was amazed. I never knew they worked. My mother-in-law has come round to our house at Christmas 7 years running. This year we're having a change. We're going to let her in. I toyed with the idea of playing Ravel's Pavane pour un enfant défunt, but I couldn't remember if it's a tune or Latin prescription for piles. My lad chewed and swallowed a dictionary. We gave him Epsom salts, but we can't get a word out of him. The mother-in-law came round last week. It was absolutely pouring down, so I opened the door and I saw her there and I said, "Mother, don't just stand there in the rain. Go home."